Well, in the game that was being crowned one of the best starting pitching matchups of the season, we saw a box score that certainly lives up to that name. 1-0 final through 10 innings. Your Tigers come out on top. Let's talk about it. That and more all today on Locked On Tigers.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen. Every single day, we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off of your first purchase. The Detroit Tigers win by a score of 1-0 over the Houston Astros in the 10th inning. A walk-off walk by Gleyber Torres. It's a 1-0 victory through 10. That is a heck of a box score. The Tigers improved to 75-53 on the season. That is a series victory over the first place Houston Astros, as those very same Houston Astros fall to 69-57 on the season. So first thought is kind of what my cold open was, to be honest with you. Like, first thought is just that is a box score that when you look at it certainly screams starting pitching matchup of the ages, right? Which is kind of what the national media was talking about going into this game. Tarik Skubal, incredible. Hunter Brown, incredible. Both bullpens throwing their A teams, okay? Abreu, one of the best relievers in the sport. Obviously the two-headed monster of Vest and Finnegan for the Tigers. Everybody that took the bump. Incredible. That is just awesome baseball. And I know that's really easy for me to say because the Tigers won, okay? But that was such a fun baseball game to watch. Every at-bat matters. The pitchers are dominant. The art of pitching, if you will. Beautiful. And something we'll talk about later on in the show is the offensive approach for Detroit against Hunter Brown. I actually didn't think was horrible, to be honest with you. Like, again, we'll get more in depth on it later, but like the box score doesn't look pretty, but I don't think the approach was terrible. Like, I'm glad the Tigers were able to obviously walk away with a win, but this was a highly anticipated matchup, and what a treat it was. And now the Detroit Tigers have a series win, and a sweep is on the table against the first place in the AL West, Houston Astros. So what went right? Tarik Skubal. Okay, we're not going to bury the lead here. We're going to start with the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour. Tarik Skubal, 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 2 walks, and 10 strikeouts. His ERA is now down to 2.32 on the season. He is absolutely unbelievable. I think this is one of my favorite starts of the season for him for a lot of reasons. One is just because of the anticipation and kind of like the head-to-headness of the matchup of two kind of premier pitchers in the American League going toe-to-toe. But that was 25 whiffs. Do you know how ridiculous that number is? Okay, 25 whiffs in 7 innings. And I'll be honest with you, I don't even think he was really offering his truly like best stuff. I don't think that's the best version of Tarik Skubal we've seen over the last 2 years. And it was 7 innings of shutout ball with 10 strikeouts and 25 swings and misses. Like, he was fighting command early. Winfield Perez robbed, I think, what would have been a home run. At best is a double. You have a play at the plate, right? Like, there were big defensive plays to keep this, and yet he was masterful. The changeup was elite. Obviously, the fastball is always solid, but the command early was a little rough. Like he was fighting it a little bit. His pitch count was kind of high first time through the lineup, and then he just locks in and he's unhittable. And the last 4 innings were a breeze. I think he went 9 up, 9 down to end the outing. Now, the reason why, the biggest reason I should say, why this is my favorite outing of his season, aside from, like I said, the matchup heading into it, and the fact that his final box score and final line is as good as it is, despite, in my opinion, not having his best stuff or best command. My favorite thing about this outing was the slider. That was the most effective I think I have seen his slider since he revamped his arsenal after like the 2021 season. Legitimately. And he didn't, he threw 11 of them. It's not like they were a big offering. Comfortably his least thrown pitch in the outing. But of the 11, 73% CSW percentage, one of our favorite stats here. 70. It's unsustainably incredible. 11 sliders, 8 swings on 11 sliders, and 6 of those 8 swings were whiffs. He was a swing and miss machine with his worst quote unquote pitch. It was the most effective. And the reason why is not because it had a different shape than it normally does, or not because he like faced a ton of lefties, and that's like everybody's favorite thing is do lefty sliders low and away. He doesn't even really do that. Did he even face a lefty in this game? Someone double check me. I don't think he faced, am I going crazy? I don't think he faced a lefty. So the slider was, my point is, even if he did, the slider was really effective against righties though. And that's such an anomaly. That's so weird. We don't see left-handed pitchers voluntarily throw a lot of sliders to righties very often. That just doesn't make sense, right? In terms of pitch shape that bleeds over the heart of the plate, it's going 400 feet. But because of Skubal's slider's shape, it's not as loopy, right? It's not as much of a pure breaking pitch, and it's more of an exaggerated cut that goes over 90 miles an hour. So he can weirdly kind of make that look like a fastball, even to right-handed hitters, as opposed to just left-handed hitters, which again is not normal for lefties. But when you are a right-handed hitter and you have to sit fastball changeup, right? Because lefty changeup to right-handed hitter that's bread and butter, peanut butter jelly. That's been around since the inception of baseball, right? And that is very hard. So when you have to sit on those two pitches and the tunneling that comes with those two, and the fact that Tarik Skubal throws 100 and has probably the best changeup in baseball, all of that combined with, oh shoot, this might also be 92 miles an hour up in the zone. Even he threw 2 back-to-back strike threes to finish off hitters, righties, high sliders, because they have to sit on the fastball up and away. How do you combat up and away? If the batter's already like, okay, I'm thinking change up, and if it's fastball up in the way, then maybe I just try to foul it off. Okay, well, here's 92. It's coming at the same tunnel as the fastball up and away, and then is cutting straight at your face, basically. Like, that is just such a unique thing that only he can pull off. And that is why he's the best pitcher on the planet. That pitch elevated is diabolical. That's psychotic. That's not something you're ever like taught to do or supposed to do. But Tarik Skubal is Tarik Skubal, so here we are. He's the best in the world. It's amazing. It worked brilliantly. I hope he utilizes it more often. He's the first starting pitcher. He's the first pitcher, period. No relievers at 200 strikeouts, but he's the first pitcher in baseball to hit the 200 strikeout mark. It's the middle of August. He's still got a handful of starts left, and this is the second year in a row that he did win the race to 200. He's incredible. He's the favorite for the American League Cy Young again. He should be. I'm so happy that he's a Tiger. And I'm going to enjoy every single one of his starts from here on out because he is a Tiger right now. Okay. Got really fired up there. Tarik Skubal is just a dog. It is so fun to talk about Tarik Skubal pitching, man. Okay, let's talk about the bullpen, shall we? We'll do that right after this. First, though, got to talk to you all about our friends over at Game Time. If you ever decided last minute that you need to head to a ball game with friends or family, maybe it's game day, Tarik Skubal's on the bump, and suddenly you realize you want to be in the stands, joining that playoff-like atmosphere that Comerica Park has whenever Tarik Skubal is on the bump. Well, that's exactly where Game Time can come in to save the day. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Game Time makes all of that possible. Game Time makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch. And they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, making it easy to browse the app for an exciting upcoming MLB game. Tired of endless scrolling to find the best deal? Well, Game Time's zone deals pick the best seats in your section for you. And obviously they have seat views in the app before you buy, so you know exactly where you'll be. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Segment 2, Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always, making us your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. And we, of course, will be back tomorrow recapping this series finale against the Houston Astros. We'll preview that at the end of the show. Today, though, we talk about this just masterclass of a 1-0 victory in 10 innings by your Detroit Tigers. Talked about Tarik Skubal, got really fired up about Tarik Skubal pitching there in segment 1. Let's get fired up about the Tigers bullpen here in segment 2. The two-headed monster of Kyle Finnegan and Will Vest just continues to be absolutely dynamic and dominant, lights out, whatever adjective you want to use to describe it. It is accurate. Kyle Finnegan, 1 inning of perfect baseball with 1 strikeout. His ERA down to 3.59, still 0 since joining the Detroit Tigers on the last day of July. His ERA was well over 4 when the Tigers acquired him, and now it's almost down to 3.5. Like, he has been absolutely dominant, proving to be a fantastic pickup for not a super hefty price by this front office. Tip of the cap. This has been a massive home run, no pun intended, of a trade at the deadline. One of the biggest reasons for his success, aside from the fact that he's just an all-star caliber pitcher and is good and has been good the last few years, he's throwing the splitter a lot more. And I think that was such a big concern when the Tigers acquired him, was, is he going to be able to get swing and miss in the back end of the pen? He's throwing splitters more than he ever has in his life. And he's just getting swings and misses left and right now. And so I think that is the value of, there's this misconception with pitching coaches. And I praise Feder all the time. And anytime anybody struggles, it's just oh, well, why is, Feder, you say he's so great? Why? It's you have to have ability and talent. Feder can't make me throw 100, right? If I just showed up to the Tigers facility tomorrow, I wouldn't become an all-star pitcher. It is ultimately on the player, and those minute adjustments to get much more production out of a pitcher is what this coaching staff is so unbelievably good at and has proven to be good at time and time again. So I want to give a tip of the cap to them, as we do often. I think Federer's one of the best in the world at his job. And then Will Vest, another case in point of that. A guy that has only improved year after year after year, went from a low leverage. Went from a guy the Tigers didn't even bother keeping in the Rule 5 draft. He went and pitched for the Mariners for half a season. He struggled so much there that they sent him back to the Tigers. And now he's arguably the highest leverage reliever on a team that has the best record in the American League. Like, just an awesome career arc, an awesome story. And he has legitimately been one of the better relievers in the American League this season. 2 innings, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 1 strikeout, ERA now 2.45. Unbelievable, man. I want people to grasp how tall of an ask it is to have a pitcher go in the 9th inning of a tie game, pitch shutout baseball, then have your offense not pick you up, go back out for the 10th with a Manfred runner, and still not allow a single run, including the unearned Manfred runner at second base. He's so good. He's the only guy. I mean, Finnegan is obviously in that category now, but he's really the only guy in this pen that we've trusted all year to get big outs and big strikeouts when it's needed most. And the emotion he shows is part of the fun too, man. He loves playing in front of this crowd and for this team, and that is something that we will never take for granted. It is absolutely awesome. The Tigers have not allowed a run so far this series. Pitching's been great. Defense was absolutely stellar in this ball game. Kerry Carpenter with the relay to Gleyber, who then got the runner at the plate. He did get him, by the way. I'm like pretty convinced. I think it helps a lot that the call on the field was out, but I really do think he tagged the oven mitt, as my dad calls it. I think he did clip the oven mitt. I don't think that was a bad decision. But then you had the Carpenter slide play in right field later in the game. Torkelson had a handful of nice plays. Andy Ibanez in extra innings made a great play at third base that'll go kind of unnoticed. We talked earlier about Winfield Perez robbing a potential home run in like the first or second inning. Like, there was great defense all around in this ball game and no lapses in that department. So even though I kind of go back and forth all the time about, the defense has a good game and then a bad game and then a good game, and I call them out every time, this was a great game. And I thought that the defense deserves a ton of credit. And then Gleyber Torres, man. Gleyber Torres is the man. A walk-off walk, just as Gleyber Torres would have wanted. Let's talk about what went wrong. So we haven't talked about the offense yet. They get shut out through 9 innings and win on a walk. They did get shut out through 9 ultimately. So I can't in good conscience put them anywhere outside of what went wrong. Okay. Like that is a shutout. If the Tigers even give up 1 run this game, then we're talking about a Tigers team that got shut out in this game. But I actually, and walk with me here. Bear with me. I'm not trying to convince you that this was some offensive masterclass or like if you're frustrated by the final line that you shouldn't be, or I'm not trying to put thoughts in your head or words in your mouth. Okay. But in my eyes, I actually really liked the approach against Hunter Brown. Like they didn't really expand the zone. They didn't go chasing a lot. The lineup made him throw a lot of pitches, over 100 through 6. So you get to the bullpen for the last third of the ball game. Not a lot of swing and miss, single digit whiffs for Hunter Brown. If you would have told me that going into the outing, I would have taken that and ran. Only, I say in air quotes, 6 strikeouts. It's not a low number, but they didn't strike out 12 times against one of the best pitchers in baseball either. And 3 walks. That's a K to walk ratio that's really not bad at all. And they also were hitting the ball hard, kind of like semi-consistently against him. They had first and third, 1 out. Kerry Carpenter's up. He ropes a line drive down the first baseline. Just happens to go right to Christian Walker, who then just steps on first base because that's right where he catches it. That's bad luck. That's executing everything you want it to that's everything you want Kerry Carpenter to do in that at-bat against one of the best pitchers in baseball. Hit the ball hard down the line. It just didn't roll their way. Wenzel Perez had a hard line drive out in this ball game as well. Look, I was very critical of this team in the month of July, and I have continued to be when I see fit. Okay, like I promise I would tell you if I was super frustrated or upset at the at bats that they had in this game. I promise, but this is just not that game for me, man. Like Hunter Brown is one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. His ERA is almost identical to Tarik Skubal's. Okay, they have almost identical stats. The walk numbers aren't identical, but that's because Tarik Skubal's a psycho. And I think, like, truly, to be fair to them, they battled pretty darn well against one of the premier arms that the sport has to offer. I guess what I'm trying to say is that the approach and the game plan by the team was solid. The execution of that game plan did not come through as often as you want. Ultimately, with all of that being said, and as much as I some people will call that sugarcoating, whatever, they went 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position in this ballgame. And you just can't have that in big moments, whether it's a good pitcher or a bad pitcher. You're going to face really, really good pitchers, the best that this sport has to offer in October if you make the postseason, and you're going to have to find a way. You're going to have to. The Javi at bat late was really rough, but again, you don't go 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position just like by accident or just because of bad luck or just because of one bad at bat there late in a ball game. You have to find a way to get over the hump against great pitching, and because it's hard. It's unfair, truly, like of me to sit here in my apartment in front of a camera and be like, these guys should just hit 100-mile-an-hour fastballs and 80-mile-an-hour curveballs with 3 feet of run, like way better than they do. It's just as simple as that. Like that's just such a jerk move. Like such a like it's nonsense, really. But it is tough to hit really good pitching. It's tough to hit really bad pitching at the major league level. And so it's an oxymoron almost, but like you have to then take advantage when you have runners in scoring position because you don't know how many of those opportunities you are actually going to have against premier starting pitching. And something I will also say, to be fair or to be not fair to this offense, the opposite of to be fair, to be critical, I will also say that the at-bats against the Astros bullpen, I thought were pretty laughably bad. Like, that is the difference, right? They didn't score any runs against either of them. In the first 9 innings, at least. But, like, there is a stark difference between what the lineup continued to do against Hunter Brown and what they did in those last 3 innings against the Astros bullpen. Not a lot of great at-bats until the 10th inning after Brown left. But yeah, I really don't think, like, there's not one player that I look at and they go, wow, they got completely overpowered or overmatched. I thought the approach was relatively speaking, again, they did get shut out. I'm not trying to sugarcoat that. I promise. Okay. I promise. But against one of the best pitchers in baseball, you got to, you're just trying to win a ball game. And that's what they were able to do. Let's talk stuff. We'll do that right after this. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Third and final segment of Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. As always, stuff. Zach McKinstry with another triple. That's just like funny to me. This guy he might end the season with double-digit triples, which is just kind of awesome. Shout out Z-Mac. Another hilarious moment in this game was the Tarik Skubal like bloop throw over to Torkelson. I have a Little League coach that used to call that a rainbow trout. When you would just like, whoo, and it just had no, meat to it, no velocity to it, and you just kind of heave it up there. That's what that reminded me of. Yeah. It worked, and they laughed about it. Okay, well, you're in a position to sweep now the Houston Astros, and the Astros have now you want to talk about you're getting ready to type, you're angry at me, you're like, oh, how can you possibly compliment an offense that got shut out through 9 innings? You're such an idiot. Well, the Astros have been shut out 3 consecutive ball games. That is a real stat. And on top of that, it actually gets worse. They've been shut out in 4 of their last 5 games that they have played. They got shut out last Friday. They got shut out Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. The only game in which they've scored runs in the last 5 games was Saturday. That's brutal. Let's keep that going, okay? Let's keep that rolling. What else? Kevin McGonigal. You know what? Man, I don't want to get crazy here, but like, call him up. What are we talking about? Like, just do it. Why not? Why not? You need any offense you can get at the bottom of this lineup card. We will gladly take. Okay. He's clearly not a AA hitter. The home run he hit, go look it up. Seriously, I retweeted it. If you follow me, you can look at it that way, but go however you want to look it up. Go look at that video. He turns on an 100 lit, like radar gun flashes on the screen. It says 100, 100 mile an hour fastball up and in at the AA level. He turns on it and hits it 975,000 feet. He destroys it. Then he gets a double on the pull side on an 88 mile an hour changeup like 2 innings later. He's clearly too good for AA. I don't know. It won't happen, but like, why not us? Some injury updates. Jackson Job's dad talked to Tony Paul of the Detroit News. Shout out Tony Paul. Great guy. Great at his job. And yeah, Job's dad said that doctors are saying that he's a little bit ahead of schedule, even for his Tommy John recovery. And they hope that he will be throwing again in December. So that's great news. Now, throwing in December, he is not going to be, I think some people might hear that and be like, oh my goodness, he's going to break the record for Tommy John recovery. If he's throwing in December, he'll be ready by opening day. No, okay, it's still Tommy John. You got a very long process of like long toss in December. He's still going to be out for a lot, if not all, of next season. But it is great to know that the rehab process is going well. That's always something you like to hear this far removed from the surgery itself. And then Jose Urquidy transferred from high single A to triple A for his rehab assignment, which would lead you to believe that if he has a couple of decent outings in a row, that could be another guy that the Tigers call on for pitching reinforcements down the stretch here. Nothing on the Paul Sewald front, which I thought was interesting. I mean, if they plan on him pitching in September, I feel like that's kind of gotta have like I don't know, even if it's like setting him to single A, setting him to West Michigan, like that's kind of got to happen somewhat soon. But I don't know. I'm not a doctor. We'll see what happens there. 91 being retired by the Wings. It's about time, baby. It's pretty darn cool. It's moments like that where I feel so like blessed to live in the city. Like I live in downtown Detroit with my roommate. All the billboards everywhere today just had the red 91 on them. It was so cool. So yeah, shout out Fedorov. That'll be in January. Brian and I talk about it on today's episode of Locked On Red Wings. You can go check that out. Okay, let's go get a sweep, eh? Why not? That's you won a series against the first place team. Even if Charlie Morton gives up, 4 home runs in the offense, is asleep against Framber Valdez, who's also really good, mind you. Okay. You're walking out of this with the toughest team you play in the entire month of August. You've already guaranteed yourself a series win, rolling into what's going to end up being a pretty meaningful series for Kansas City this weekend. So yeah, why not go win it? Why not? You're already playing. Why not win? Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. And we will, of course, be back tomorrow recapping said series. I appreciate you all greatly. Have a fantastic Wednesday. Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. I'll catch y'all tomorrow, baby. Go Tigers.